One morning, you wake up. For some reason, you feel mid, like a feeling that life hasn't been what it's all cracked up to be. The crushing realization that this isn't a sudden event. It's been happening over days, months, maybe even years. A gradual decline in your satisfaction with how life is actually going.
I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am.
You thought you'd be happy when you got your own place. No, you thought that holiday that after working so hard would help reset your system. Not at all. Even when you're in a room full of people, never have you ever felt so alone and isolated. One of the hardest things I've had to deal with recently is this idea that you can still feel a little bit disappointed even if you are working out, even if you are eating healthy, even if you are getting the correct amount of sleep. You can still have those feelings of life dissatisfaction no matter where you are. And that's fine. That's absolutely natural. You can hit this point, you can hit this slump where you just feel generally about everything really unfulfilled. This isn't just me though, this is affecting numerous people close to me that are successful, incredibly hardworking, and still have this base feeling of being unfulfilled in their daily lives. And these are people that you would kill to have the opportunities they have, the friend circles they interact with. They have everything conceivable that you could probably want, but they still feel dissatisfied from time to time with what they've got. I think it was on Mark Manson's podcast. He was with his co-host, I keep forgetting his name, and they talk about this world-renowned study called the Blue Dot Effect. Now, the Blue Dot test is very simple. You've got a group of participants. They're each told to only select blue dots during this test. During the first few stages, blue dots appear, boom, they start selecting them. But over time, purple dots and maybe red dots start to appear. By the end of the study, the participants were selecting a lot of the wrong colors. And what this shows is that if we're primed to look for certain things, no matter where we are, we're most likely to find a criteria or a subject that most fits into that criteria or that description. Okay, so why am I talking about this? It seems that the more we prime ourselves to look for the wrong things in life as opposed to the right things, they tend to crop up. And I guess what I'm looking at is the idea that you have to recognize that there are some redeeming aspects to your day. And if you don't look for those aspects, the whole day is lost. More recently though, in modern terms, there's been something called the quarter-life crisis, and it is exactly what you think it is. This is generally the idea that people my age, so in my mid to late 20s, are more likely to feel like that they have a lack of direction and purpose in their life. It also means that we can be a lot more apathetic about doing the things that we know would be beneficial to us now, rather than putting off to do later. I'm sure everyone knows when they're young, they get asked the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? I remember when teachers would ask one of my friends, he would say that he wanted to be a game designer. For myself, I always wanted to be a writer, I wanted to be an author. And this is quite funny because this is something that actually influenced my later career in wanting to become a journalist. Even to this day, I would love to be an author and release a book at some point. But it also drills into us this idea that if we don't have a concrete direction from an early age, we're pretty much a loser. No one wants to hang out with losers. But what's worse is that when you get to that career path, when you achieve those goals, and then you realize you're still feeling like there's something missing, that's when you realize that you've put your ladder up against the wrong wall. Now, going back to the quarter-life crisis, what this does is convince people that their job isn't enough to keep them happy. Some of the side effects from this can include quitting jobs, selling possessions, going traveling. You've probably known a couple people that have done very similar things. All these actions happen as a consequence of a lack of meaning in the day-to-day activities. I think this general mentality of feeling that you have to constantly be achieving, trying to get everything done on your to-do list is really harmful. Like for me, going for walks is probably not going to earn me a great deal of money. It might save me a couple quid from getting the bus or having to use my car. But there's a certain sense of appreciation and slowing down when you go for a walk that isn't immediately evident until you actually start doing it. Now, there's a question I was going to leave you guys with. If your job isn't good enough, how bad do you want to escape that feeling? What are you going to do to fill that void that has been left by it? Thank you guys for watching. If you like this, comment, like, and subscribe, and I'm sure I'll see you in the next video. Onwards and upwards.